Inequalities now. So inequality is the same thing you've done. We're going to graph this thing, but guess what? We shade it, and we determine if it's a dotted line or a solid line. You guys remember from your linear equations, if it's greater than or equal to, it's a solid line. And this is going to be the graph. Let's just graph it. Okay. All right, what would make this equal to 0? Well, 0. 0 times 6 is 0, square root of 0 is 0, negative 0, it's all still 0. It starts right there. Now, if you remember from last time, what would be the best thing to do? Square root of 6 isn't going to work. Square root of 12, can't use 2. 3 is 18, 4 is 24, 5 is 30, 6 is 36. See the little pattern there? So 6 times 6 is 36. The square root of 36 is 6. But it's a negative 6. I believe that's how we're going to fit on this graph. So we have 0, 0. We have 6, negative 6. 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, I'm going to try to graph this one. Remember, that's not a straight line. That's got to come over here, and it's got to hit that and kind of bend down. So it's not perfect, but it's pretty good. So that's the square root of, that's a negative square root of 6x. But remember, this is greater than, which means everything above is shaded. Now I say everything above. Remember what the domain is. We start at 0, so it's got to be there. I can't do anything past there. And it's everything else going on forever. All right, I got those, so I can just go coloring crazy now. That's kind of fun. You kind of notice too, when I pick up the highlighter pen and put it over it, it has a slightly different shade. If I go over something twice, it's slightly darker. Kind of weird, huh? So it's all this stuff out here, and it goes on forever. But remember, it starts at 0. It doesn't go past 0. All right, one more graph, then I'm going to answer 2 questions. So before we put we look at the points, what do you think about this one with a rusty color? Okay. So this is just a regular square root function, except it moves -5. So what would make that x value equal to 0? 5. So your square root graph, and it's not going to be an accurate one, it's just going to be a guess right now. Your graph would start at 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now what does that plus 4 tell you? Okay, we're taking y, whatever it is, and adding 4 to it. Remember how we talked about it before? That if you subtracted 4 from both, remember, what makes that equal to 0? 5. What makes that equal to 0? 4. Goes up 4. Now, let's see how good I did with my guess. Okay, looks pretty good to me, actually. Let me take this out of the way. Let's pick some points. Okay, what makes that equal to 0? 5. So if I choose 5, 5 minus 5 is 0. Square root of 0 is 0. 0 plus 4 is 4. So right there, 5, 4. I can probably pick another point. 6, because 6 minus 5 is 1. The square root of 1 is 1, and 1 plus 4 is 5. So 6, 1, 2, 3, 4. Not bad. Not bad. We can probably pick one more. How do we get it? 4 from that. 4 would be, what, 9? 9 minus 5 is 4. The square root of 4 is 2. 2 plus 4 is 6. So does 9 6 fit? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ah! Okay. My graph was a little off. My true graph should be like this. It wasn't bad for a guess, I suppose. Let me get rid of it, though, because that one's wrong. Okay. Now, shading. Thank goodness it's equal to, because I already shaded it. Otherwise, I'd have to erase a little bit of lines. And it is less than, which means all that gets shaded. Never did a highlighter in this color before. Let's see what it looks like. Is all under this graph. Now it goes on forever, but it starts at 5. So it very deliberately, even though it goes on forever, and we'll just kind of like make those forever motions. But notice it has to be very much on here. In fact, what I'll do, just to make it look a little better, is I'll draw a line with the same color right here. There we go. So it's everything from here out, and always under this graph. That's how you do inequalities. I've got 2 more problems left. Not bad to do, because it looks kind of crazy. What is this thing? Oh, that's still that highlighted color. Yeah, get rid of that. I like yellow sometimes with highlighters. It's a little bit easier to see through. All right, that's an equation. Okay, it's an equation for the velocity of a roller coaster as it moves down a hill. Now, v sub 0 is the initial velocity. H is the vertical drop in feet. Don't you wish you'd be in a roller coaster right now? I'm telling you, if the v is 70 and the initial velocity is 8, can we find the height? Well, guys, it's just solving an equation. Nothing more straightforward than that. I mean, there's nothing hidden. There's nothing crazy about it. It's just that you have to make sure you know how to solve these equations. So velocity is 70. The v sub 0 is 8, but what do I do with that 8? I square it plus 62h. Now, how do you solve a square root equation? What's the opposite of taking the square root of something? You've got to square it. 70 squared, 4,900. The square root of all this is 8 squared. What is 8 squared? 64 plus 62h. That's not an h. Wow. So 64 plus 62h. Now I solve it like a regular old normal equation. What I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 62 from both sides. Not 62. I'm going to subtract 64. That gives me 4,836, which equals 62h. Divide both sides now by 62. H is 78. This formula relates your weight from your distance from Earth. The further away from Earth, the less you weigh, until you clear the Earth's gravity completely, and then you weigh nothing, which is kind of nice. But you still have the same mass. You don't really have any control if you're weightless. It's kind of hard. So don't really mind gravity. Kind of keeps things on the ground. Okay. So the formula is the square root of 3960 squared times your weight on Earth divided by your weight in space minus 3960. Okay. Don't know where that formula came from. And most formulas that you use, especially if you ever do your taxes, we don't know. I don't know where necessarily those formulas come from. I could figure them out, but I don't need to. I just need to use these formulas. When you get more and more into science, you realize how many formulas that you have to use. So it's pretty crazy. So let's just plug in what we know. So it's 3960 squared, and I'll put the square root later, times your weight on Earth, which here is 148, divide it by your weight in space, which is 115. Take the square root, subtract 3960. Now, if you guys don't mind, I'm not going to show you every single step on this one. We're just going to like do it. So let me do it. I'm going to clear off my calculator. I'm going to do 3960. I'm going to square it, which is 15,681,000. I'm going to multiply it by 148, which is going to give me over 2 billion. That's heavy. Hopefully it'll come down. Well, it will come down because we're going to divide it by 115. Comes down to 20 billion. Nope, 20 million. Better. Take the square root of that thing. It's giving me 4,492. However, I'm going to subtract off 3,960. That is 532. And we'll go 0.4. So you are 532.4 miles away from the planet Earth. All right. What do you think about that? Didn't know any of that information. This is kind of new to me, and hopefully I did the formula right. So I hope you guys have a great weekend, a great spring break, and try to stay active, try to get outside, try to schedule yourselves well,